I am Aeneas, son of Anchises, a prince of Troy, and Venus, the goddess of love and beauty. My life has been shaped by destiny, forged in the fires of a city's fall, and guided by the will of the gods. From the ruins of Troy to the shores of Italy, my journey has been a long and arduous one, filled with hardship, loss, and sacrifice. But through it all, I have remained steadfast in my duty, knowing that I was chosen by fate to lay the foundations of a great empire, the empire that would one day become Rome. My story begins in Troy, the city that was my home and the seat of my ancestors. I was raised as a prince, trained in the arts of war and diplomacy, and cherished by my family. My father, Anchises, was a man of wisdom and courage, and my mother, Venus, though distant, watched over me with divine care. I fought in the Trojan War alongside my comrades, standing firm against the Greeks who had come to destroy our city. For 10 long years we resisted, holding the walls of Troy against the might of the Greek armies. But in the end, it was not the strength of their swords that brought us down, but their cunning. The Greeks left behind a giant wooden horse, a gift they claimed was in honor of the gods, and sailed away, leaving us to celebrate what we believed was our victory. We brought the horse into our city, unaware that it concealed a group of Greek soldiers within its hollow belly. That night, as we slept, the Greeks emerged from the horse and opened the gates of Troy, allowing their army, which had returned under the cover of darkness, to enter. Fire and blood consumed the city. I awoke to the sounds of battle and the sight of flames devouring the homes and temples of Troy. In the midst of the chaos, my mother Venus appeared to me, urging me to flee. She revealed to me the will of the gods. Troy was doomed, but my destiny lay elsewhere. I was to escape the burning city and lead the survivors to a new homeland, where a mighty empire would one day rise. Though I longed to fight and die alongside my comrades, I could not ignore the divine command. Gathering my family, I fled the city. I carried my elderly father, Anchises, on my shoulders, while my little son, Aeneas, ran at my side. My wife, Creusa, followed behind, but in the confusion, we became separated. When I turned back to search for her, I found only her ghost. She appeared to me, urging me to continue my journey and fulfill my destiny before fading away into the smoke and ash. With a heavy heart, I led the remaining Trojans out of the city, escaping to the mountains and beginning our long journey in search of a new home. For years, we wandered the seas, searching for the land that had been promised to us by the gods. Our journey was fraught with danger and uncertainty, but through it all, I remained guided by the prophecies and visions that Venus and other gods revealed to me. We first sailed to Thrace, where I hoped to find refuge, but the land was cursed, and the omens were ill. From there, we journeyed to the island of Delos, where the oracle of Apollo instructed us to seek the land of our ancestors. Believing this to be Crete, we sailed there and attempted to settle, but a plague struck our people, forcing us to leave. It was then that the gods revealed the true destination of our journey: Italy, the land of the West. There, we would find the fields of Latium and the river Tiber, where I was destined to found a new city. With renewed hope, we set sail once more, braving the treacherous seas in search of our fated land. Our journey was not without trials. We encountered the Harpies, monstrous creatures that cursed our food and foretold that we would not find rest until we had been driven by hunger to eat our own tables. We landed briefly in Epirus, where I met Andromache, the widow of Hector, who had been taken as a slave after the fall of Troy. She and her new husband, Helenus, welcomed us and gave us further guidance on our journey to Italy. At last, we reached the shores of Africa, where we found refuge in the city of Carthage. There, I met Queen Dido, a woman of great beauty and power, who had fled from her homeland to found her own city. Dido welcomed us with open arms, and for a time, I found solace in her company. She was a woman of strength and intelligence, and we soon grew close, bound by the shared burdens of leadership and exile. But the gods had other plans for me. Though I was tempted to remain in Carthage, to forget my destiny and build a life with Dido, Jupiter, the king of the gods, sent Mercury to remind me of my duty. I could not stay. My fate was in Italy, and I had to leave. When I told Dido of my decision, her heart broke. She pleaded with me to stay, but I could not defy the gods. As we prepared to depart, Dido, consumed by grief and rage, took her own life, cursing me and my descendants with her dying breath. I sailed away, the weight of her death heavy on my soul. After leaving Carthage, we made our way to the island of Sicily, where we buried my father, Anchises, who had grown old and weary from our long journey. His death was a great loss to me, for he had been my guide and my strength, but I knew that I must continue on. It was then that the gods commanded me to visit the underworld, to seek the counsel of my father's spirit. Guided by the Sibyl of Cumae, a priestess of Apollo, I descended into the realm of the dead, passing through the dark and terrible gates of Hades. There, I encountered the shades of my fallen comrades, including Dido, who turned away from me in silent reproach. At last, I found my father, who revealed to me the future that awaited my descendants. He showed me a vision of the great city of Rome, the empire that would one day rise from the blood and toil of my people. I saw the great leaders who would rule it, from Romulus, its founder, to Augustus, who would bring peace to the world. My father's words filled me with renewed purpose, and I emerged from the underworld with the certainty that my journey, though difficult, was not in vain. When we finally reached the shores of Italy, I believed that our trials were over. But the gods, ever capricious, had more challenges in store for me. We landed in Latium, where King Latinus welcomed us and offered me the hand of his daughter, Lavinia, in marriage. This union would have sealed the alliance between the Trojans and the Latins, fulfilling the prophecy that I would found a new people in Italy. But Juno, who had opposed me from the beginning, was not ready to let me succeed. She stirred up strife, turning Turnus, the king of the Rutulians and Lavinia's former suitor, against me. War erupted, and I was forced to fight once more to secure the future of my people. The battles were fierce, and many brave men died. I lost dear friends and comrades, including Pallas, the young prince of Arcadia, who had been entrusted to my care. His death weighed heavily on my heart, and I swore vengeance upon Turnus. The final confrontation came when I faced Turnus in single combat. We fought with all our strength, and though Turnus was a fierce warrior, I prevailed. As he lay at my feet, begging for mercy, I was tempted to spare him, but the sight of Pallas's belt, which Turnus had taken as a trophy, filled me with rage. I struck him down, ending the war and securing my place in Italy. With the war over, I married Lavinia and became the ruler of the Latin people. Together with the Trojans, we built a new city, Lavinium, named in honor of my wife. It was not the great city that Rome would one day become, but it was the beginning, the seed from which the mighty Roman Empire would grow. My son, Aeneas, would go on to found the city of Alba Longa, and from his line would come Romulus and Remus, the twin brothers who would establish Rome. The gods had promised that my descendants would rule over a vast empire, and though I did not live to see it, I knew that my journey had laid the foundation for that future. In the end, my life was not one of personal glory, but of duty and sacrifice. I was chosen by the gods to carry the remnants of Troy to a new land, to forge a new people from the ashes of the old. Along the way, I faced loss, heartbreak, and countless trials, but I never wavered in my duty. The story of my journey has been told and retold by poets and historians, and my name has been remembered throughout the ages. I am Aeneas, the pious hero, the founder of a people, and the progenitor of Rome. My life was not easy, but it was necessary, for it was through my trials that the foundations of a great empire were laid. And though I am long gone, my legacy endures, in the city that stands as a testament to the will of the gods and the resilience of the human spirit, Rome, the eternal city.